Yo, what's up? It's your favorite neighborhood historian, Dilla, and this is You Don't Know Chi. Today we're going to be featuring one of the most influential and prominent Chicagoans of today's time. We're going to be asking him whether or not Chicago has an east side. This is your boy Dilla, and remember that everything dope about America comes from Chicago.
Living in Chicago, God is in your favor. I'ma hold it down like call me an anchor. Think about my problems, deal with it later. Focus on my family and stack up all this paper. I am an emperor, God in the making. Every time I wake up, it's a celebration. Every time I wake up, it's a started from the bottom, y'all.
Chicago historian Dilla is a fascinating blend of modern historian and cultural worker. Dilla has become a Chicago social media sensation by going viral on TikTok. His 60-second history videos on everything Chicago have been viewed over 20 million times. Dilla has been featured on all manner of Chicago media and has also appeared nationally on both The Today Show and The Kelly Clarkson Show. As a proud resident of the South Side, Dilla lives by the saying that everything dope about America comes from Chicago.
Black Chicago be like, I put my city lingo under street lights.
Hailing from the south side of the city, Korporate has become a prominent figure in the entertainment industry, known for his insightful observations on the nuances of black life in Chicago. No one gets Black Chicago quite like Korporate. His breakout success came with the creation of the popular web series, Black Chicago Be Like, a collection of sketches that offer a look into the everyday experiences of black residents in Chicago. He's also a burgeoning hip-hop artist who is blending his social media charisma with the harsh realities of the city. With his continued growth and unwavering commitment to his artistry, Korporate is poised to achieve even greater success in the years to come, solidifying his position as a leading figure in the entertainment landscape.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the
Oh man, the bus stop, brother Korporate.
How you
What up,
feeling,
dude?
G? For sure, man. My battery on my Tesla is dead, so I had to hop on the bus. G.
It don't get no more Chicago than the Cottage Grove bus. That's for sure.
Most certainly.
Man, we appreciate you though. We appreciate you taking your time to hang out with us today. For starters, my brother, is there an east side of Chicago?
Absolutely. Most certainly. If you ask me,
Right.
personally, as far as where it starts, you know, it differs depending on who you ask. Some say that it starts at Cottage, which I was kind of siding with that. I might still side with that, but then you'll say, some say it start at Jeffrey and go down. But if I had to choose one, I'm gonna have to say Cottage, personally.
Right,
I'm gonna have to
right.
say Cottage as well over East Side. I know you're familiar with the culture. Over East is an area that is well solidified into the history of Chicago. How dare anyone act like over East is not a thing in Chicago? Like, why is that the case?
I agree with you as it relates to where does the culture of over
Okay,
east start.
for sure.
Right here on 67th and Cottage Grove. But to the first question, technically, Chicago doesn't have an east side. But we can have that conversation on the run because here comes your bus.
People, it's time to move out. Move out. My people, it's time to move out. Show them what we do now.
So why doesn't the city of Chicago recognize the east side of Chicago? One of the answers is what we would today call the east side was its own township in the beginning days of Chicago. And so everything that's south of 39th Street going all the way to 130th Street and east of State Street going all the way to the lake, that was originally a part of the Hyde Park Township. It did not become part of Chicago until 1889. But if you're from the south side of Chicago, you have certainly spent a ton of time over east. Anytime you're going to Rainbow Beach or to the South Shore neighborhood, you're technically over east. And I spent a ton of time on the beach because I was a Chicago lifeguard. It was a really, really awesome time. I also spent a ton of time at the Southside YMCA located on 63rd and Stony Island. Certainly had my fill of shrimp at Calumet Fishery, which is right there on 95th Street, right as the bridge raises above the Calumet River. As the generations have passed, the boundaries of what we culturally call over East have shifted. If you ask my father's generation, they would say something like Jeffrey or Yates. You have to be way on the eastern border of Chicago to be saying something is over East. In my generation though, right about 67th and Cottage Grove and traveling east from that point, we would say was over East. And today, you know, some of the kids say King Drive is over East. Those kids are wrong.
Coming up on You Don't Know Shy.
I'm in the middle of filming an episode of You Don't Know Shy right now, actually. Any famous black people come to mind who live in South Shore?
Man, I didn't know they had people that pull up and portably charge the Tesla, so now we got some juice. Let's hop in traffic.
Let's do it. We know that the city of Chicago as an entity doesn't always respect culture and places, right? Like for instance, we like to say that there's 77 neighborhoods, there's actually like 150. That could also mean like we don't show love to culture. And I'm wondering, how would you define the culture of Over East?
Man, the culture of Over East is just the existence of Over East. Everything that take place around Cottage, Stony, Jeffrey. I stayed on 78th and Colfax for a nice little minute over there in No Limit. Well, as of more recent years, No Limit, but the OG name of that area is Terrortown. You know what I'm saying? So I started doing the Chicago videos in 2016. And some of them was over East. I was living on 71st and Drexel. In some of my earlier videos, you can see Gary Coleman in the background.
Chicago, do we have an east side of the city?
I don't know, I ain't never seen it on the map. Right now, we probably in the south, but southeast.
I'm finna point to it for you. Straight that way towards the lake. This is Cottage Grove right here. Go straight that way.
I mean, you know, we always call it the southeast, but it's different, because downtown, it's like the east too.
And you cross Stony Island, you keep going east. That's the east side. You'll see apartment buildings, parks, and everything around there. Whole neighborhood. East side of Chicago. A lot of people don't know that.
Well, sadly, the answer is no. We do not have an east side of Chicago. How do I know? Well, the answer lies in the Chicago flag. So I'm sure my opinion is biased, but if you ask me, the greatest flag that represents any municipality in this country is the Chicago flag. And like all flags, our flags have a ton of symbolism and meaning. On the Chicago flag, there are 3 white stripes. They represent the 3 sides of the city: north side, west side, and south side, with the middle white stripe being the biggest stripe because for most of our city's history, the west side had the largest population. Then there are 2 blue stripes on the Chicago flag. They represent the 2 bodies of water that pass through Chicago, one being Lake Michigan and the other one being the Chicago River. And then on our flag is 4 red stars. The first star represents Fort Dearborn. Before Chicago was a town, we were a military fort. The second star represents the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. We know historically that we almost lost the entirety of our city. The third star represents the Columbian World's Exposition of 1893. At that World's Fair, we gave the world the chocolate brownie, the Ferris wheel, and the dishwasher. The fourth star represents the Century of Progress World's Fair. Chicago became a town in 1833, and so in 1933, to celebrate a century of progress, we threw a second World's Fair, and at that World's Fair, we gave the world Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Digifay is a film production company based in Chicago.
We're good on audio for this next segment.
We might use this for some more ambient lighting.
The biggest strengths of our team as a whole is just the energy that we bring to every project.
1, 2, 3, and hold it.
You're coming into this space with a bunch of creatives. You fully trust what everybody knows, that they're full of that knowledge and they're capable of what they're doing in their role.
I love filmmaking because there's so many different possibilities. Figuring that out is the fun part.
I think it's so important to have Black storytellers to make sure that we are able to pick up the camera and document the things that we feel are important, not just for us, but for the whole country and the whole world.
Digifay, bringing stories to life one frame at a time.
Previously on You Don't Know Shy.
Chicago, do we have an east side of the city?
I don't know, I ain't never seen it on the map. I'm finna point to it for you.
Straight that way towards the lake.
Well, sadly, the answer is no. We do not have an east side of Chicago. So when we think about over east, like I was saying, we always think about the buildings, right? The buildings up and down Yates and Jeffrey and, Escanaba and all that stuff over here. But what really kind of brought the wealth to what we call over east and the east side was folks who was building out these big houses. Before this was a black neighborhood, for a little while it was Polish and Irish, and then eventually a really, really large Jewish community was over here on the east side. So the South Shore neighborhood, like all of Chicago, was originally inhabited by indigenous Native Americans, and then after white settlement happened here in Chicago, the neighborhood was inhabited by folks from Ireland and Italy and other countries in Europe. But then after about the 1920s, we started to get this burgeoning Jewish Americans who move into that neighborhood. It really becomes a thriving Jewish community. But then after a very famous case, Shelby v. Kramer, neighborhoods open up here in Chicago, and African Americans who are coming up via the Great Migration, they start to live in that neighborhood. And today, South Shore is predominantly African American.
Let's talk about the black people that live there, that specific, that block, that neighborhood.
Yeah. I hope you're still recording, because this is great behind the scenes. Be calling a sec, check myself.
Oh man, what's happening?
Nothing, my brother. I'm in the middle of filming an episode You Don't Know Shy right now, actually. And I was getting ready to say that Mavis Staples stays over east. Any famous black people come to mind about who live in South Shore or the over east area?
Shoot. Ye, Barry Parker, Michelle Obama, Ramsey Lewis, Ernie Banks, Gail Sayers.
That's a fire top of your head list there, sir. Well,
How you doing that episode of East, man? That's dope.
Yeah, we talking about whether or not Chicago has an east side, and there's a technical answer, but then there's a culture of over east that we want to explore. So I appreciate you. For me, the start of the east side or over east begins right at Oakwood Cemetery, particularly since Oakwood Cemetery has so much history. You ever heard of the pioneering data journalist Ida B. Wells? She's buried there. Chicago's first black mayor, Harold Washington, he's buried there. You ever heard of Big Jim Colissimo, who's the founder of the alleged Chicago outfit? He's also buried there. And also, Oakwood Cemetery happens to be home to one of the only Confederate monuments to be found in the North. The Confederate Mound is there. It's a place where unnamed soldiers were buried who were part of Camp Douglas, which was the Confederate prisoner of war camp on the south side of Chicago.
Coming up on You Don't Know Shy.
Would you consider 103rd and College still over east? Or is that just strictly south side?
Hey, you know what's crazy? When you go off of the logic, yes, but no.
They don't show that the south side and the east side got big dumb palatial houses. You know what I'm saying? Anywhere else in the world, these houses would be worth $1 million. You know what I mean? Particularly like this one, these wood frame houses that got the stucco on there, all these brick houses. I love that one because I could date that one. That one went up in about 1903. Over 100 years old. And these streets, particularly over east, are lined with them. The further you start to go south, they got big, huge yards. We want to show the complexities of Chicago. We want to show that we not just one way, that we got all to offer. There are families here, that are people who go to work and take care of their property. And you see that opposite ends of the spectrum very well when you over east, right? You can go 2 blocks over and, it look like an area that's suffering economically. Then you go another 2 blocks, you think you in Blue Island or something somewhere, right? And these blocks, particularly those 2 houses as well, are some of those houses that kind of show the history of Chicago and what's possible. The hell is up? How you doing? I'm good, how are you? What you doing over here? We finna film some of my show. You got to get our coworkers. This was my trainer, taught me how not to electrocute myself when pulling meters. If you follow me or my content, you may have heard that I famously was let go from a certain light company located in Chicago. They were shady. But what I will say is that that particular light company, having that job taught me a ton about Chicago. In Chicago, we got plus or minus about 8,000 blocks. And when I worked for the light company, I literally stepped foot on about 6,500 of those blocks. And so that's how I learned the city inside and out. So I thought it was pretty cool when we were out there shooting with Brother Korporate to run into some former coworkers, particularly a coworker that trained me, because I do credit a lot of what I know about the texture of Chicago, how to map around Chicago, why I never need to use a GPS. A lot of it has to do with my time working for the light company. We on Stony, we getting ready to drive by the Stony Island Arts Bank that Theaster Gates is in. When Ebony and Jet closed, they had the big building downtown, and his family gave Theaster Gates this library that John Johnson had that had over like 2,000 books. And instead of throwing them away, he put them in the Stony Island Arts Bank. So now people get to check out that collection. What high school did you go to?
I graduated from Corliss over there on 130 Cottage.
One of the most important questions that a Chicagoan will ask one who says that they're from Chicago is what high school you went to. That lets us know whether or not you lived inside of the city or if you lived in the Chicagoland area or the suburbs. Would you consider 103rd and College still over east? Or is that just strictly south side?
You know what's crazy? When you go off of the logic, yes, but no. Once you get in the hundreds, it's just the hundreds.
It's just the hundreds, right? That part. In this case, Brother Korporate went to Corliss High School, located on 103rd Street, just on the other side of Cottage Grove. That high school is named after Henry Corliss, who's the inventor of the steam engine, and it was named Corliss because of its proximity to the Pullman neighborhood, which is where the Pullman sleeping car trains were created.
Digifay is a film production company based in Chicago.
We're good on audio for this next segment.
We might use this for some more ambient lighting.
The biggest strengths of our team as a whole is just the energy that we bring to every project.
1, 2, 3, and hold it.
You're coming into this space with a bunch of creatives. You fully trust what everybody knows, that they're full of that knowledge and they're capable of what they're doing in their role.
I love filmmaking because there's so many different possibilities. Figuring that out is the fun part.
I think it's so important to have Black storytellers to make sure that we are able to pick up the camera and document the things that we feel are important, not just for us, but for the whole country and the whole world.
Digifay, bringing stories to life one frame at a time.
Bless us whole time. It's Corporate.
It's your main man, Spice Adams.
This is Scoop Jackson.
My name is Mike Flager.
My name is Ernie Wong. Tony Baker here in Chicago.
¿Qué tal? It's Mike Moreno aquí en La Vita.
I'm Tonika Johnson, and I'm from Inglewood.
And y'all definitely tuned in
to You Don't Know Shy.
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 This is You Don't Know Shy.
Oh God.
You Don't Know Shy promo for a Take One Mark.
Yo, Dilla, when'd you get on the block?
Dilla, what are you doing, man, in Logan Square?
Everything dope about America comes from Chicago, greatest city on earth.
Living in Chicago, God is in your favor. I'ma hold it down like call me an anchor. Think about my problems, deal with it later. Focus on my family and stack up all this paper.
Digifay is a film production company based in Chicago.
We're good on audio for this next segment.
We might use this for some more ambient lighting.
The biggest strengths of our team as a whole is just the energy that we bring to every project.
1, 2, 3, and hold it.
You're coming into this space with a bunch of creatives. You fully trust what everybody knows, that they're full of that knowledge and they're capable of what they're doing in their role.
I love filmmaking because there's so many different possibilities. Figuring that out is the fun part.
I I think it's so important to have Black storytellers to make sure that we are able to pick up the camera and document the things that we feel are important, not just for us, but for the whole country and the whole world.
Digifay, bringing stories to life one frame at a time.
Blessings, whole time it's corporate.
It's your main man, Spice Adams.
This is Scoop Jackson.
My name is Mike Fleger.
My name is Ernie Wong. Tony Baker here in Chicago.
¿Qué tal? It's Mike Moreno aquí en La Villita.
I'm Tonika Johnson, and I'm from Inglewood.
And y'all definitely tuned in.
So you don't know Shy. You don't know Shy.
You don't know Shy.
You don't know Shy.
You don't know Chai.
You don't know Shy.
This is You Don't Know Shy.
Oh God.
So this place is full of history. Today we call it the South Shore Cultural Center. It's a part of the Chicago Park District, but it's originally was constructed as the South Shore Country Club, and it was a white-only golf course. The club opened right about 1906, and from its inception, it refused to allow African Americans or Jewish Americans the rights to participate on the golf course, the private beach, or to even enter the facility, unless of course you were working there. And then as the demographics of the neighborhood changed, people who lived in the neighborhood wanted to participate at the country club. And even though they were surrounded by Black and Jewish people, they continued to deny them access. And in the early 1970s, they decided to shut down the whole thing and just leave without ever admitting any African Americans. And this big, beautiful, picturesque building is sitting there rotting off of the shores of Lake Michigan. About 10 years after they left, the Chicago Park District decided to acquire the property and turn it into the South Shore Cultural Center, which I think is poetic because now it's a building that welcomes everyone, whether you live in that neighborhood or not. You know, I always say that spaces have energy. And so some of the things that happen on this side of town could be because of the energy that was left for us. A lot of us that live over east are living in a space that wasn't intended for us to ever live in that space. If they'd have had it their way, we wouldn't have ever been there. And so we're moving into an apartments and we're playing at parks and we're visiting beaches that was built with the thought of never letting Black people have access to it. That's sad, but I love the repurposing of it. I love that now, you know, Jesse White Tumblr, South Shore Drill Team, various graduations and weddings take place in here. In fact, let me tell you about a wedding that happened here.
Oh man, for sure.
I'm very proud of Chicagoans that Obeezy is from here, right? The first Black president. This is where they had their wedding reception, right?
Oh,
you know,
wow.
he becomes a Chicagoan because he marries Michelle Robinson, right? When Michelle was a baby and she was born in Providence Hospital, and the first place she ever lived was O-Block. So that's why they took her home as a baby.
O-Blockian, I would have never thought.
Michelle Obama is definitely an O-Blockian, G. And then they get married. They had a wedding ceremony at Trinity on 95th Street. This is where they had a wedding reception, man, you know. Super, super dope. About 2 summers ago, we had the Bill and Linda Gates Foundation here, right? And they were so amazed that you could find this type of beauty, this type of architecture on the south side of Chicago, because like everywhere else, right, when they decided to come to Chicago, what do everybody tell them? Oh, don't go south, don't go west, don't go east, right? But they walked in here and they was breathless, and they got to spend time and have a party in a place where the Obamas got married, you know what I'm saying? Don't get more American than that.
Absolutely, this is definitely just an expression of the reality of Chicago just having so many hidden gems.
Yes, sir.
We over east. It's swanky as hell in here. Like, it's an honor to even be in here for real. So, yeah, just something that make me appreciate my city just that much more.
Right on. We treat the South Side and over East as if it's a place that doesn't deserve nice things. And so I love that they intentionally made it nice here. So before we get some grub though, brother, I want to thank you for your time. Certainly appreciate you, man. I kind of don't feel like we have a definitive answer on whether or not Chicago has an East Side, and whether we answered it or not. Korporate say Chicago got an East Side, goddamn. Chicago got an East Side, you know what I mean?
Woke up today, smile on my face, may not go my way, still got my face, so I'll be okay.
Man, what a day and what an amazing episode. Shout out to homie Korporate for pulling up on us, especially in that Tesla truck. I don't think we definitively answered whether or not Chicago has an East Side, but what we do know is that over East has a culture, and that culture is of Chicago. Hey, thank you very much for tapping in with You Don't Know Shy. Be sure to tell us, does Chicago have an East Side? My name is Dilla, I'm a Chicago historian, and I want you to remember that everything dope about America comes from Chicago, the greatest city on earth.
Woke up today, smile on my face, may not go my way, still got my face, so I'll be okay. I'll be okay, I'll be okay. Running our race, just at our pace, made some mistakes, but learned a few things, so I'll be okay.